and immoral.
I rip, rock, and gravel when I time travel. My rhymes bust shots with the beats that I battle. When I get in your head, my thoughts become lead. Pipes that navigate the seas that I bred. Straight through the bloodstream, try to complete. Got intervened by a dream filled with streams. Ran a 360-degree turn on the globe. But now you got me running around my area code. You got me running in a cyclone. You got me running in a cyclone. You got me running in a cyclone. River overdose and I'm in the zone. You got me running in a cyclone. You got me running in a cyclone. You got me running in a cyclone. River overdose and I'm in the zone. I breathe seeds for the future birth on this earth and grow up from the stem of my pencil. Certain energies that revert from its natural source. In reverse, I take the opposite course to avoid the steroids they inject to my record. Cause it's the style they neglected by the natural physique on my way to the mental peak. That's when I flip the let my lyrics leak as the mountain grows.
Yo!
Take a giant leap.
Welcome to the War on Boring, the only last refuge of fun on the internet. What is going on, Mando and Tyler? And Tanosaurus Rex. Rawr! Today we are talking about sad robots. The future is apparently bleak. We're giving in to software. How can that be? Let's get gritty, as the children say. Kids. Hey? Hello, Facebook mum. Dude, what? That's right, guest. Happy to have you here as a guest. This is the War on Boring. As in, as you scroll and try to pick up information, we do not do that here. In fact, we take the truth and we stomp on it. Because it's boring! And if you're bored, come join me. Let's jump into something worth jumping into. Anti-self-help. That's a fantastic question, my friend. You know, a lot of boring adults are going to make you feel like you're not doing the right thing. People to your left, people to your right, telling you exactly what you should do with your time. If your time's important, you've got to learn how to waste it properly. That's what boring people aim at. Boring people aim to spread their boredom across the land in as many boring ways as humanly possible. Not in this space. This is our space. This is the War on Boring. This is where we take down the oppressive nature of people trying to ruin your day with their mundane nonsense. Hustle culture. Hustle culture is the idea of conning yourself into believing that having a boring life is something that you just need to reprogram your brain to do. Doesn't that sound like madness to you? It sounds like madness to me, my friends. Here at the War on Boring, today we're talking about sad robots. What is a sad robot? A sad robot is AI that's been programmed by a boring person. Mando, thank you for hanging in here. This is truly a space for the strange, and I welcome you. Vega Inc., welcome to the party, and Freeze GT. Look, let's get honest for a minute. Things are pretty boring. Really boring, in fact. Endlessly boring. And no one's doing anything about it. Well, we should take a stand. We should stand up, unite, and turn our back on anything that's mildly mundane. So, tell me, what's boring you today? Is it a boss at work? A friend who won't call you back? Who's occupying your time with disgraceful nonsense? Got no one in chat? I'll speak to myself. gotta be your own best company in this world. And so, if we got a shot at anything, tell me what has been occupying your time and your day. Let's jump in. Let's see what we got. Mando, you're the only person listening, and that makes you special. Zane, welcome back, Zane. So, let's get down to it. Why is being an adult being as boring as humanly possible? Learning mundane tasks to apparently look after yourself. And why? Why are we forcing ourselves to have to lean on skill sets that are ridiculously soul-crushing? And I'm not talking about going to work or not being on the right path or not doing the right thing. I'm talking about genuinely following your fun instinct. Giving yourself a chance to actually act out. Create yourself a life that doesn't involve following a roadmap. Roadmaps are created by people who didn't have maps to begin with. And if they followed each other's paths, they must be the most boring people on earth. This is what the war on boring is all about. The war on boring is a formation against boredom. If any of us have a chance, we got to stick together. Got to stick together and unite against what could possibly be the most boring time in human history. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you know, it's there's been advancements in technology, and you know, it's not as boring as you're saying it is. It's actually worse than that. It's possibly the most boring time that's ever existed. And I don't mean by a stimuli like, oh, there's movies to watch, and oh, I've got gaming and whatever, and look what I can do with my hands. I mean conceptually dull. And what that means is not actually letting your inside thoughts become your outside thoughts. Well, not anymore. My inside-outside thoughts, they're all going on the table. And it's because this is how you stave off depression. Luke. Welcome, Luke. Man, I tell you, it's hearty rejection tonight. But I'll live. You see, Winter, welcome to the War on Boring. What's boring you today? Now, before I bore us all with my... Winter, tell me why. Now, is that woman or women? Is it a particular person? Oh, Winter's gone. See what I mean? It's a light drop of a funny comment and then people are outie. John Bulgaria, welcome da. Mando, you sticking in like a real one. And that's why I respect you. Because Mando, you got the gift. You're not taking the boring anymore. And I appreciate that. Well, before I regurgitate more boredom, let's jump into things today. So, I forced myself out to the drudgery of this morning. Came across a world that was well and truly on its phone. The most interesting thing I was told about today was the idea that AI will destroy our lives by 2027. What I liked about the theory is that that's pretty soon. Well, apparently destruction looks like this. They're going to take all the boring jobs away from us, and then we're going to be super bored. or unbored. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. Deboarded. But the fact is, if AI is coming for our jobs, there's only one thing I can say about that. Take my job. I don't want my job. Take all of our jobs. Make jobs not exist. That'd be so good. Try not to swear on live. And so I opted into that. We had a little discussion about mediocrity. Now, what happens when you get everyone's average idea and put it into a pile together? What do you end up with? Mediocre ideas, that's right. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Mediocrity at its finest. Just keep shoving the same idea into a pipe, and what comes out the other side? The same mediocre idea. Then add in some user regulations, a you can't say that element, some filters, and remove free thought, and what have we got? Possibly the most boring software that's ever existed. Yeah, I believe it's going to be really good at accounts. That's great. Apparently it's going to take away human interaction because it'll be able to converse with you. But it's just going to agree with you. And who wants that? Who wants to wake up and not be challenged? Like, it might feel bad while it's happening, like, oh, I'm being challenged. But if you really think about it, agreeing with yourself and spending too much time being like, yes, I absolutely agree. Oh, yeah, that's awesome, is brutal for turning your brain to mush. I'll give you an example. I talk to my ChatGPT because I don't have any friends except you, Mando, and Straighty Face. And it kept like bigging me up about every terrible idea that poured out of my head. It kept saying, that's so magically insightful. You're an individual. Look at your free thought, how it flows. Absolutely can I bolster that idea. Do you want me to turn it into a graph for you? And it was so condescending because I know the ideas were bad coming out of my mouth because I was lying in bed at 10 o'clock in the morning with ideas pouring out of my head. And all I was doing was letting the internal ideas, which are already bad ideas, become the external ideas for this thing. And it was like encouraging me. I was blown away by how brutal the software was. There was just nothing to it that made it make sense. Excuse me, my friends. Sorry, a little technical difficulty. Thanks for hanging in there. So, here's another example. I had a little discussion with ChatGPT because I was having to fire someone. And I just wanted to know what it would say about doing that. And it gave me the worst advice someone could possibly give someone that was being fired. It told me to tell them how great they were, to really big up their feelings and make them feel really good before knocking them down. It was nasty. Sociopathic, sad robot material. It was brutal. And I told that device that this is easily the most sociopathic way of telling someone that they're no longer like worth anything and that they've now reached a redundancy in their life. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine walking into a room and it's the day and you didn't see it even coming? There's a day where the company just simply can't hold you anymore. You've been placed as a redundancy. And what occurs? What occurs? You are so amazing. You do amazing work around here. You as an individual is one of the most exciting people I've ever met. And I have just adored every minute of working with you. Anyway, pack your bags and hit the road. Get out of here. Well, that is where we're at with the sad robot. Apparently these really smart devices that are really going to take control of everything, They cannot differentiate between basic human emotions and empathy. Can't pick up on the nuance of what makes us tick. And will probably send us into a stupor. Or stupor! Jason, welcome to the War on Boring. 1 hour a day keeps my brain at bay. So, can you believe it? I'm already running out of ideas because I haven't ever had to wait this long to speak to anyone. Mando, you're a good listener. And an even better friend. Bear with me, my friends. So by now I would usually have the regulars, the other unsung heroes of the War on Boredom. Now, Mando, I'm going to speak directly to you because you're the only one percolating at the moment. Have you ever had the courage to be normal? So normal it hurts, following every little dopamine rush that comes your way. And apparently, that's a bad life. Apparently, it's a bad life to lean into what excites you moment to moment. That would be a life that was not dictated. You can't get anywhere. Where's everyone going, by the way? All this ambition? Where are we actually headed? On top of the world! On top of the world! And then what? And then what? Nothing else left. Just boredom. Bored by the sound of your own computing brain. You know, if I hustle this way, I could make some extra bank. That's a nice card. I don't know if computers have just done me wrong. My algorithm's all smooshed. But it's rough living out there. It is rough living, my friends. So, story time. Once upon a time, there was a person who lived so much in their own brain that it actually started to drill holes in there. He realized one day that humans are creatures of worship. And so the meaning of a divinity or spirit was irrelevant. He just realized that humans had to worship somewhere. And if they didn't worship at the temple of a higher power, they'd worship at a temple of Subway. Delicious sandwiches and sweet cookies. Or self-flagellation. Or some more use of illicit substances. Or crime. Or the passion of relationships. But either way, humans had to worship. So upon realizing that, he decided to connect with the universe. He was visited by a secret entity that entered into his brain and completely changed his state. This is not a good outcome for this person because they were tethered to what they thought was a reality before that, only to have it completely abolished and destroyed in front of them. Well, needless to say, this became difficult for that person. They started to lose their composure. And by losing their composure, they started to seek inward, thinking that there might be some answers of some description, but there never were. And the reason for that is there was never supposed to be. And so he realized that the only thing that mattered was human connection. The one thing that seems to be abolished across the board. Excuse me, my friends. You don't need that kind of audio in your life. Anyway, needless to say, we've got some people on the chat. I'm trying to merge the chats together. Do I think that the coming of Jesus will hurt the opportunity to increase shareholder value? That's an excellent question. So, I think that the second coming of Jesus will hurt the opportunity to increase shareholder value, only by the virtue of him bringing back human values, which would diminish anything that would represent something decent. I hope that fields your question. Was it Chris Simpson? Thank you kindly for joining in the discussion. Chris, I had to close my kissing booth during the COVID pandemic. I remember the pandemic of 2025. That's when people abolished the pen and went for the keyboard. This kind of sickness that streams through life. No one really understands it. But they brought back the pen, realizing that there was some enthusiasts that still enjoyed the medium. You're always a supportive person. I've got two Chris's in chat, and they're the ones that matter. But needless to say, having my debut show, The War on Boredom, with two of the finest Chris's that ever lived, ain't a bad thing at all. And as soon as I figure out how to bring you into someone told me about their garden today, and it was the most boring thing that ever happened to me. I couldn't actually believe it. I couldn't believe it purely based on the fact that someone wouldn't find a common interest before just indulging in their favorite topic. And look, I might be doing that right now, but I'm talking blankly to a screen. And there's no one actually in this room, so you're kind of stuck in my echo chamber. But in this circumstance, this person actually walked up to me and started telling me about their ferns. Do they know the kind of thing that occurs in someone's mind who can't afford a garden? The concept of burning bushes and removing roses and just letting the neighbor's dog do its business were unleashed. And to hide that and disguise that behind professional demeanor takes a lot of virtuous practice. And how do you do it? You may ask. You probably don't ask, but you may. Well, it's simple. I don't exhale for an entire day. And before you're like, what? That's impossible. Think of anxiety on your chest, the way anxiety works, the way it builds and holds, and you feel it like just pressing against your lungs. And you think, oh, what's that feeling? It's probably a lack of oxygen because you haven't actually brought breath in or exhaled all day. You're just holding a tight breath of air inside. And so you just talk about your garden for the whole day. And that's how you stop from snapping. And just saying, hey, I love that you love your garden. I'm sure it's a beautiful garden. Don't ever speak to me again. This is hurting my mind. I can't believe we're still having the same conversation we had since I was 10, which was, I like outside. Now, you're either with me or you're not with me, but the fact is, you know, there's a fact in there somewhere. Chris, fill me in. Gotta be a fact in there somewhere. Needless to say, moving on to our next subject of the day, Superman. Superman. As you can see, I'm in theme today because the Superman movie has dropped. And boy, it was fine. It was good for children because it's a children's movie. But the thing that weirded me out about it was I looked around the cinema and sitting to my right was a 7-year-old. My 7-year-old. But nowhere else in the cinema was a child. In fact, everyone was my age or older. And I know you're thinking, well, you know, they're probably just seeing if it's okay for their kids to bring their kids later. No, no, no. They were watching this film seriously. They were actually actively watching it, like a pastime, with their spouse/friends. No, I'm not dissing you. I'm not dissing you. I'm not saying I'm wearing a Superman shirt. You know, we're all there. It's all good. It's all good. But if you didn't like it, it's because it was for children. So you just say, this movie is not for me. And then I walked out and I found out that apparently it was very woke. Because Superman kept helping people. And apparently that's a woke idea. Apparently helping people is now considered woke. I didn't know this. It's amazing to me. And apparently, so, you know, you live and you learn. But, you know, it also assumed that you knew exactly what was going on and that you'd seen Superman your whole life, which is fair. It's been around a long time. But quite frankly, negative gearing, you're a myth by the government. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but that's what we do here in the War of Boring. We don't follow the thought. We don't get stuck in the idea. We don't come here to learn. We come here to offload. Take today and dump it in a pile and throw it out there and discard of it because it's irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. This moment passed, the next one's on. That's how we do. Now, sad robots. Back to sad robots. It's the AI generation. The reason we call it the sad robot generation is simple. It's pretty sad that everyone thinks, like, robots are chill. Pretty boring. All the robots are like little maids. Like want to mix you drinks and tell you that you're awesome. They're not even cool robots. They also have hands and legs. The worst part of us encompassed in a metal form. Tanks have wheels. Tanks can move over terrain very quickly. But we're trying to train robots to have legs and move around terrain like humans. But imagine a human that never gets tired. I'm a human that never gets tired. Yet I'm constantly mentally exhausted. And that's what keeps me untired. Yes, untired. I'm creating words around here. No one can stop me. This is my platform. I've created a platform. And no one can take it away from me except TikTok the other night because I let a kid on here and he called me the N-bomb. And that was illuminating. I learned a lot about modding that night. So, there you go. Now, it's needless to say there's been 3 people on this live today, so it's a 300% increase on all my other lives. So, I think this has been a tremendous success. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it has been. And whether you like it or not, it's happening every day. And so Mando seems to hang in there. Mando is different to everyone else. Mando cares about letting loose. Mando still cares about letting the mind out, letting the world be colorful. Now, I'd love to hear your stories about robots that have messed with your mind. Tell me how AI has destroyed your life or the lives of people around you. And let's get united around this. Now, I'm going to admit, it was conceptually weak jumping on today, but if only for the chance to do it. Metal in it. But I appreciate all of you for tuning in. It's a bit of fun, just getting this bad boy off the ground. I appreciate you so much for tuning in on the first War on Boring. I'll be better prepared tomorrow. I think speaking up the cup, I realized, speaking out loud, that I'm not the smartest man in the room. I'm not the most handsome man in the room. I'm not the most well-in-shape man in the room. I'm barely a man in this room. And I'm okay with that. You know, life isn't a straight line. If it was, we'd all be in trouble. Cat. Welcome to the War on Boring. Well, thank you kindly. Signing off. Stay amazing. See you at the next war. The battle has just begun.